So you just heard about a vaccine passport and how one company behind it says it's about keeping people safe, but someone here is asking, what about people's privacy? Back to discuss it, Dan Geltrude, Rebecca Walser, Adam Lashinsky, and we've added Kat Timpf to this discussion because, Kat, I suspect you don't like this idea.
Look, no. Okay, look, if a private company wants to do it, they can basically do whatever they want. But in terms of the government, I still don't think driver's licenses are really necessary or appropriate.
Whoa.
So I'm definitely going to go with no on that. Look, I have a driver's license. Does that mean I can drive? Nope. I'm sure there's a lot of 14-year-olds who'd be way better behind the wheel than I am. So.
Well, as Neil would say, I'll put you down as a maybe. But Adam, what's your response to Kat?
Well, I completely disagree with her. In the states where I've lived, the government has gone through some processes to make sure that I have some basic driving skills. And in this case, this is a clear safety measure. You know, I've been carrying around my yellow card, my immunization card for years. And the way our last guest described this, it's no different. I'm going to have on my phone proof that I've been vaccinated for the coronavirus, the same way I have proof here that I have a typhoid shot or a tetanus shot. And if governments also want to do this, I also think it's a good idea. It's their job to keep us safe, and this is one way to do it.
Well, Rebecca, I haven't held up an immunization card to anybody ever, so I'm impressed that Adam actually has his. Yeah. But I was the only time I had to pay a bribe. I hope I'm not going to get in trouble with this. I was in Bolivia. I used to cover Latin America, and they said I was going to need a yellow fever shot. A woman came into the airport room that I was in with this rusty old syringe and said, "Okay, senor, are you ready?" I said, "How much is it going to take for me not to get that shot?" And I paid her what she asked for. So I think of something like this as happening in a third world country. Of course, I haven't lived through a pandemic before, but what do you think, Rebecca?
This pandemic is like the Energizer Bunny for all things of government control, 1984. I completely agree with Kat. I completely disagree with Andy. Maybe he has the vaccine card because he lives in California. We don't want that for the rest of the free America that we live in. We want our freedom. So let's just pause for just 1 second. We are no longer in 2020. We no longer have to accept on their face these crazy arguments as if they are just correct. And let's look at this. This is a vaccine for the people that are not, this is a virus for people that are not with comorbidities and are not older, that people survive 99.5% of. This is a vaccine that has been developed in less than a year's time, and people want to wait and take their time. There are some people that want to wait and take their time. They want to say, oh, look, I'm going to survive this even if I get it. I'm not going to take a vaccine that is going to give me, who knows? Well, there's been all kinds of things already, David, that have happened with people that have taken it. So now you cannot fly. You cannot fly because you do not want to take a vaccine and you're in your 20s or 30s and this is a survival. Right. This makes no sense.
Before I go to Dan,
I will be getting the vaccine.
I just want to give Adam a chance to jump in quickly, so you can give Dan a chance. Go ahead, Adam.
Well, this is the same kind of thinking that prevented so many people over the past 9 months from wearing masks when there's clear scientific evidence showing the efficacy of it. Freedom, we all love freedom, but it only goes so far. Sometimes science trumps the freedom. And I'm not saying.
But you hear a lot of these lockdowns have not been based on science, Adam, right. And we proved that with the outdoor dining in L.A. But go ahead, Dan.
Listen, I am not for having to carry, even on your phone, this I'll call identification. I disagree with Adam on that, although I am impressed that he's carrying his vaccine history with him. I don't know anybody who does that. But you know what? Where does it end, David? Where does it end, David? Do we have to start doing this for the flu? And then how long do we have to keep having this ID with us? When is the virus officially over? Yeah. I think it's a slippery
actually,
slope.
Kat, that does bear in a lot of people's thinking right now is that a lot of these governors and mayors who are getting used to issuing these edicts are getting accustomed to it. And maybe some Americans, not the pushback Americans, but some Americans are getting accustomed to that being the way the government operates. Are you concerned that this thing won't go away, these passports, and that they'll be expanded into other areas?
Of course, because, and to be clear, I plan on getting the vaccine as soon as I can, and it's fair. I think people who are, older or the more at-risk population should certainly get it before I I get it. I figure out whatever's in it. I probably put worse things in my body anyway. But look, I am concerned, especially when you hear people talk about follow the science, and then, for example, you have someone like Andrew Cuomo, who the state's own contact tracing data says that indoor dining is responsible for only 1.4% of infections, and he closes it anyway. Right. So I'm all for following the science, but let's actually follow the science.
Well, Rebecca, let me switch over Adam for a second, but go right to Rebecca, because I'm going to ask you. I haven't really formed. My passion is with you, Rebecca. However, I think if it's necessary to get this world back to working, to get rid of the lockdowns, if you have to do this in order to jumpstart the world economy once again, isn't it a trade-off worth it?
Well, I worry that we just haven't had enough time. I'm not saying that I would be opposed to a very safe vaccine, but with the amount of time, for example, I have young girls, right? And it says, there's no idea what this does to your fertility. You can't, if I were to take it, I couldn't try to get pregnant for 2 months. These are the things that we need time to figure out, and forcing people to take something this fast before they can fly. I fly internationally all the time. I'm certainly concerned that I might be forced to take a vaccine when I wouldn't otherwise take something if I have a 99.5% survivability that's been developed this fast with this many unknown questions.
And Adam, I got to tell you, there are a lot of people, I've talked to doctors who have legitimate questions about the new mRNA variety of vaccine. There are a couple, which includes Pfizer and which is the other one? Well, AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson have the old-fashioned vaccine.
Yeah,
many people want to wait for that one. Should they be allowed to?
Yeah, well, I mean, doctors have questions because it's so new. On the other side of that is all of the data that we have so far and the preponderance of evidence around the world that it's a good idea. I just want to point out the reason I have this card is that certain governments require you to present it that you've been vaccinated for the diseases that are still prevalent in their countries in order to enter their country.
As I said, I used to travel all the time for about 12 years, and the only time that happened was in that one instance in Bolivia. I don't want to go back to that again. All right, gang, thank you.